So the plan is to get a power line out to the well here from the Connex. So I've got 125 feet of something gauge. This is looks like. Hello, Frozen Frontiers. Welcome back for another one. I'm gonna go over my water setup for my well in this video. So, as you can see back here is the well. Got some pipes running out of it. I'll go over those, what they do, how I hooked them up. And yeah, anyway, I hope you enjoy. How would you look at that? A little bit of filming magic, and everything's tidied up quite a bit. So I had to put this log in here because the brace that I got for this to hold it on, the clamp, was too big, so I just needed some extra space. Plus it kind of helps hold it all together a little bit. So from here, all I have to do is open up this guy and flip the top switch. She'll turn on, start pumping water. Then, way down this line, this hose goes all the way to here, where I have another shutoff valve, and then a conversion to a garden hose for now, because really all I need is just water. So then this garden hose, it's got a good old kink right there I need to get out. Goes over here to, of course it's dumping it right into my place. To where I've built a little shower area so I can shower. Should be quite lovely. I need to get that kink out because I'm losing a lot of pressure to that. But I also got my solar panels moved. The first 8 are moved over here now. Gets better sunlight for more of the day. Even right here I'm generating a decent amount of power with them being covered up. Then the other ones will go back behind as well. So yeah, making progress. Now, it's time for a shower. Wish me luck. So I've got the internal components ready to go for the pressure tank. So this is everything that goes up to the part where I start pumping water into my house, basically. So we'll go over this really quick. This is a 1-inch hose connector for a black hose. It's this hose, basically. That goes onto here, and then past here we've got the check valve. So the pump that I have doesn't have a built-in check valve. I don't know if most of them do or not, but mine does not. So you need to install one of these. And what this basically does is it allows water to go this way. It does not allow water to go this way. So my pump doesn't hold water, so all this water will very likely slowly drain back into the system. And that's just because the height of it will draw the water down into the well. This will prevent that from happening, so it'll prevent any water that goes past this point from going back. All of these have some tape on them just to stop any leaks. But then we go into the main T. So this main T essentially just creates a bunch of openings and connectors for us to connect various things to. I'll go over each of those. So we've got a pressure gauge here. This just basically tells us how much pressure there is in the system. This is just a relief valve that I can turn if I need to drain the whole system. This is an emergency relief valve. So what this will do is if it gets over, I think, 100 psi, it will release all of the pressure in the system. Well, maybe not all of it, but enough to depressurize the system out of that bottom valve. I'm pretty sure it just opens the whole valve and probably releases all the pressure when it does that. Anyway, moving on. Then we have our connector that goes to PEX. So I'm running PEX through my house. It's 3/4 inch PEX. So I have a 3/4 inch connector here. The reason I opted to go with 3/4 inch is just because it offers a larger flow, and also there's not really any good connectors that go from 1 inch to 1/2 inch. I would have had to hodge a couple things together and have additional adapter connections on here, and I didn't really want to deal with that. Plus each of these adapters is like 15-20 bucks, so just go with the 3/4 inch PEX through the whole system. It doesn't really cost much more for all of the 3/4 inch stuff. Anyway, so coming up to this, so I chose to raise this just to get it out of the way of the pressure gauge here, but what this is the actual pressure switch. So the pressure switch uses a bunch of mechanical stuff inside that I'm not going to go into because I have no idea how it actually works. But what it does is once it gets enough pressure, it pushes up enough that this valve all disconnects and stops leading power in. So these terminals here, at least for my system, your system's probably different. These two in the middle would go out to my well from this switch, and these two on the outsides would go from my breaker panel to this pressure switch. Then you've got grounds down here to connect everything to. The wires lead in through the sides here, so you've got a nice rubber connection going in. You don't have to worry about breaking your lines. The box that goes on top basically just goes on like this. And don't be dumb like me and think that this adjusts your pressure. It does not. Just unscrew that and the whole top comes right off. I thought the top popped off a different way, so I kind of mangled up the housing here a little bit. Yeah, don't do that. But yeah, that is basically the entire T system here. The next step is just to put some tape around that guy and throw it onto the pressure tank. So I started threading it in. Really all it is, you just go through this hole straight down into those threads and you just turn it until it's tight and facing the right direction. Right now it's facing the right direction, but it is not tight. So I might have gone a little bit large on my pressure tank here, but I might actually even want to upgrade it in the future, because the larger the pressure tank is, the less often I will need to open up or turn on my well pump, and the less often the well pump needs to be turned on, the less electricity it uses, in theory. We got our water heater here. It's a 20-gallon Rheem water heater, 2,000 watt heating coil. Should be pretty good. Let's get her in. Alright, so we've got it where we're gonna have it for now. This will eventually be going underneath one of my cabinets, but for now it's just gonna go on the bottom of my pantry. This has its own dedicated 15 amp plug that I'm gonna be putting in. So 15 amps goes into here. I think it's like a 13 or 14 amp system or something like that, but yeah, it just runs off of a wall plug. The connectors I have are 3/4 inch to 3/4 PEX and 3/4 inch to 3/4 PEX. So let's put those on. So I got the PEX hooked up from the pressure tank over to the water heater. Water heater's power is all run. It actually doesn't use a power plug, it just uses cables that go in, so I just ran that really quick. Yeah, now I just need to tighten these down. And some people use a drill attachment, or a drill. I say why, because I can just do it myself. Try and do that without knocking the camera down here, because, well, yes, you can do it yourself. It does still involve a little bit of strength there, so yeah. Okay, I just threw the switch, fixed the leaks, and the water heater should be on now. This thing kicked up, so I bet that it is. It's using 2 kilowatts right now. You'll be able to see here in a second. This UPS enabled shows us how much is being used. 1.96 kilowatts. But yeah, I'll show you where the lines come in. Basically, they just run underneath the container and then come out right down here. So you can see the black line on the left over there comes out, the yellow line comes out and goes straight into the pressure switch. Yeah, this isn't wired up all nice and fancy right now. It's, you know, temporary. All of this is going to go out in the utility container, but they're going to have to do the septic out there. So I'm going to wait until the septic is done. That'll be in a couple weeks to get this all moved out to there. This will be staying in here, going underneath one of my cabinets eventually, but probably just staying in this closet for now. But let's go over all this. This is all some pretty fancy stuff. Oh, hi buddy. Coming back for another visit, huh? So you see the ground right here might look a little bit gross and dirty, but it's because this check valve is leaking very slightly, you can see. It doesn't leak fast enough to where it's, you know, pulling up a ton. It dries before it gets too big, so I just haven't worried about it. It's all temporary anyway and gonna get moved, so yeah, I'm just not worrying about it. Anyway, so the check valve here just makes sure that water can't go that direction. So as you can see, this arrow is pointing this way. That means that it'll let water in this way, but it won't let water out. So right here, none of this is pressurized. I could pull this clamp off, there would be no water that comes out. On the other side of this, however, this is very pressurized. So this is up right now to, it's just above the point where it would turn back on. So if I were to go out and pull the hose, it would, you know, drain down to 40 and then turn on, go back up to 60. And that is controlled by this. So this is the pressure switch. Pressure switch turns on at 40, turns off at 60. So it's just monitoring the pressure inside of this whole system, making sure it's above a certain pressure, and then it'll turn on. This is a relief valve. Well, sorry, this is a relief valve. If this ever gets over 100 PSI, which it shouldn't ever, then this will just blow off and just let all the water go out. That's a safety feature because this guy here can only support a max of 100 PSI. So we don't want this big tank to blow up. That would be very bad. Very, very bad. And then this is just a valve that you should install. Right now I have a hose running to it that goes outside. When I initially installed this, I didn't have all of the hookups to do an actual like line hose outside. As you can see, the cold water from here just runs straight into the water heater. I didn't have a T because I was dumb and didn't buy one. So right now I just have this hose going, you know, out under the container. Essentially the same way that I have the water heater hose going out. I'll show those in a second, but yeah, so we've got our pressure gauge, pressure switch, one of our personal relief valves, and a safety relief valve. This is all really easy to put together. You just use your plumbing tape, you know, as you can see there. Use your plumbing tape everywhere. The inside of this guy is a little bit funny. If I have a video of that, I will put it on here. But it's really easy to set up. It's just two hot wires coming in, two hot wires going out. So the two hot wires are on the inside, and the two outs are on the outside. You just hook those up, and then when it turns on, it just, you know, completes the circuit, pumps the power out. So then we've got the water going over to the water pump. Sorry, not the water pump, the water heater. And that is all running up to the breaker panel up here, which doesn't look terribly pretty right now, and with it being a little bit of a temporary setup, I'm keeping it open for now. I shouldn't have to worry about touching anything in there because I'm not really in this area very much, but yeah, so I've got it all sitting on top of these just little rubber pads. And that's just to try and help not break my tiles or scratch them up or whatever. So anyway, the lines that come up into the panel, so they go into a 220, which is a 50 amp. And the reason it's a 50 amp right now is because I have a couple other things hooked up to it. I know that this is not good to do. With this being a couple weeks temporary thing, I'm okay with doing it. But don't do this. Definitely don't do this, because that's not good. Right now I do have my in-floor heating plugged in. I can turn it on, but I just have it set super low. I don't need it right now. So, I mean, as you can tell, it's a pretty warm day out. I mean, it's probably about 80 degrees in here, even though this says 71 up there. That's the temperature of the floor. The floor takes a lot longer to heat up. So it's probably about 80 degrees inside right now. But yeah, anyway, the pressure switch comes up, goes into here. The line for the water heater goes into the other side. So the water heater is only a 110 volt. It doesn't require a ton of power, so it just hooks into one of these legs. The other side of this, because this is a 220 cable that comes up in here, the other side of this, which is why this is off, goes into the bathroom right now. Nothing in the bathroom is currently on or plugged in, so I just have it off. Yeah, so that's this setup here. Let me show you. I'll head outside and show you where these lines go so that I actually have like usable hot and cold water. So on the outside of the container here, and this is just next to the door, video coming on this. Don't sweat it. I'll get that video out, I promise. Anyway, so I've got two lines running out here, and I'm going to replace this one very soon. I just got the parts to run this actual cable, but this is the cold side, so cold on the right, hot on the left. So right now, it's actually kind of warm in there. Oh yeah, and video coming on my painted container. I'll probably do the container painting and the deck video in the same one. That'll either be the next one or the video after. I need to figure out what other videos I have. Anyway, so this valve is open right now, which means water is going out to it. And the valve inside for this one is open, so this is full of water right now too. And it's all pressurized right now up to 40-ish PSI, but once it turns on, it pressures up a bit more and then pumps out. I'm gonna be moving this tank because I don't need it anymore either. It's pretty warm out right now, I'm sweating. So anyway, I have these hooked up to just some, run-of-the-mill spray things so that I can, oh, there's a bug right there. Let's get him. Got him. Yeah. So that I can use these to, either spray off the panels and they get some dust on them, or fill up some things for water and start using them. You might hear the pump turn on as I'm using this, actually. Let's see. Use it for a second, see if we can get the pump on. Yeah, we've got some pretty good water pressure out of this, and this hose right here isn't the best for getting a large amount of water through it anyway. But it seems to do all right. I've heard that you actually get some better efficiency out of solar panels if you cool them down every now and again. I mean, I don't think I'm going to come out here and spray them every day, but I'll spray them once a week or so. Make sure that they keep dust off of them. Oh, I can actually tell that the pressure switch engaged and the pump turned on, as the pressure is getting higher, which is kind of cool. The pump only really needs to turn on once every, while I'm spraying this, once every maybe 5 minutes or so. It does pretty good at keeping the pressure up, so let's go in really quick and see if we can see that it actually is on. Got a little bit of a mess to clean up. Yeah, so before it was at a little bit above 40 and now it's right up to 60. So yeah, it definitely did turn on. Anyway, for hot water, so that was the cold water side. For hot water, I just have this other thicker hose. And that's a little bit for insulation, but a little bit because that's just what I have. And then I just turn this guy and it starts spraying out. And that is actually like, comes out as pretty hot water. So shower with that, wash dishes with that. And yeah, it goes pretty good. So yeah, video coming on this. Let's get this all stitched together, get you guys a video. I hope you're enjoying.